All right. Slightly delayed, but finally, welcome to Stockholm Hardware number 11, this time on robotics. Thanks for daring through the oncoming snowstorm. I hope you'll be able to get home afterwards. Let's see. Okay, great. So, yeah, thanks for coming. Stockholm Hardware is a volunteering organization. We do a monthly meetup, and we focus on spreading interest in hardware. So we're for experts, we're for beginners, engineers, creatives, startups, enterprises. We already got our camera volunteer for today. Thank you. We are 6 co-organizers. The co-organizers, Caroline, Thomas, and Anders Melbrand, I think, is coming soon. If you'd like to talk about hardware with us, if you have some ideas or you're looking for some introductions, feel free to reach out to, well, anyone here, but in particular the co-organizers will be able to help you. Here's the agenda for tonight. We're slightly behind, but we'll start up with, well, actually, I'm going to give a little bit of logistics intro information like this. Hopefully, I'll get through it quickly. Then we have 2 main talks. We'll do a break, another main talk, 5 lightning talks, and a bit of mingle, and then you can head into the cold weather. Yes. Here is the lineup. We're going to start up with a talk about the robot championship by these 2 gents over here. Then Matthias will talk about robotics and the production line. There he is. Then we break. Then it is Fur Hat Robotics, but it is not Edwin. Where are we? Over there. Good. I will try to get the slides updated. Certainly, I'll update the web afterwards. And then we have these 5 lightning talks also. The main talks are 15 minutes plus 5 minutes Q&A. The lightning talks are max 5 minutes, and we time it so we stick to the plan and can get you all home in time. If you would like to do a lightning talk, you can come up to us and we'll add you to the list, or reach out to us in the meantime and we can get you added to the next one. Anything you're interested in, as long as it relates to hardware, you'd like to do one? That's great. Come up and see us as soon as we're done with the intro. We do, the reason why this gear is up here is for live stream and for video recording. So you can actually watch this from home. Maybe some people are as we speak. We also cut out each of the talks into small episodes that we put on our YouTube channel, so you can watch it bite-sized. Logistics, there is some food and some drinks downstairs. If we've run out of drinks, we'll restock. If we run out of food, I think we just run out. We have the upstairs room up here. It's filling up. We also have a room downstairs, and in the room downstairs, we have audio and video feed, so you can watch it from there as well. Bathrooms are on this floor, so the upstairs floors, there's 2 bathrooms out here. This is wrong. I did not update this slide. But the next event it is on a Wednesday, but it's on the 26th of April. I'll show it later in the event. But the next event, Wednesday, 26th of April, so roughly in a month. It'll also be here. And the theme will be power and energy harvesting, which was one of the themes that got the most votes when we did a vote last time, if you were here for that. Shout out for Things. So the place we're at today is Things. It is a co-working space focused on hardware and hardware startups. They are kind enough to give us space, and they have invested in the beer and beverages that you're consuming. Also, Internet Fountain is helping us purchase some gear so we can do live streaming. We have 2 volunteers today. Here's just a picture of one of them. So make sure that if you see him around, you say thank you. The other one is Douglas. So if you see him, also give him a pat on the back. Briefly, won't go into too much detail. We are looking for a new sponsorship for 2017. So if you have ideas or you know a business that's interested in supporting this cause without strings attached, so without too much corporate promotion, then we'd be interested. Okay, community announcements. We generally run through, we give the chance to the community to share out what you're interested in. We do normally max 1 minute at a time, and I think for most of them we have somebody to take care of their announcements. Is Miku here for this one, Osa? No, right? Am I talking about this one? Miku is here. I'm talking about it. Okay, cool. Just to mention that there is a Biohacker Summit coming up at Epicenter in mid-late June. So check that out if you're interested. May, right, in 2 months. 19th of May. Janne? Perfect. You want to say something for a minute? Cool. Welcome, Janne. Give Janne a hand.
Yeah, that's me. Been working there for 5 weeks so far, but I've done this innovation advising stuff since end of 2002. Yeah, my name is Janne Lundqvist. I come from the innovation office at Stockholm University. My colleague Claes handles all the researchers, but I handle the students. It's 70,000 of them, plus all the alumni, former students. We give free advice, make connections, help you know about competitions, all the cool stuff in the Stockholm startup landscape. If you are a team, it's okay if it's only one of you are from, have a connection to Stockholm University. The rest can be from KTH or whatever. And send me an email, and we take it from there. Thank you.
Very nice, Jan. Quick and to the point. It is the 2-year anniversary for Things tomorrow. So the building we're in. We have 10 tickets. The tickets are generally free, but they're invite only. So if any of you are interested in going here tomorrow for the 2-year anniversary, you can use that promo code to sign up. I guess I should have included the URL as well. So if you can find if you can find it yourself, you can use the promo code. If not, I'll put up the URL over the break, so it'll be on when you come back from the break. Some of you, how many by show of hands have listened to an episode of the Stockholm Hardware podcast? 10 or 15, great. So this is now a thing. We are just released episode 9. So go check it out. It's on iTunes and Stitcher and some other places. Stockholm Hardware podcast. So it's about 15, 20 minutes of people who are in the community in Stockholm talking about how they see hardware. Shout out for 2 people who are helping make the podcast happen. Okay. That was not bad. That was fairly quick through the logistics. Here's a summary of the talks, and the next slide, I think, Thomas, is for you. Is that right? Not for you? I took it away. I took it back. Yeah, that's a good idea. I'll give you the mic, and then that's great. Yeah, maybe you can come up and we'll prep in the meantime.
All right, so this is me in my house, and this is what I do during spring break. I want to get caught up on my differential equations and my fluid dynamics, and we all know that obviously. When we don't have anything to do, we start doing differential equations. So now I'm just, the thing is that I have a big list of things I want to do if I didn't have a job or if I had a lot of time. So if I had a lot of time, I would start building mobile apps using maybe React Native for Android maybe. I would do many different things if I had the time. So while these guys are setting up the first presentation, we should try to do something out of our comfort zone again, which is talk to somebody you've never talked to before. Never. Could be the guy sitting next to you, and tell him about what you would do during your first spring break, where you have time to do something else than fluid dynamics, but what you actually would like to do. And we have 3 minutes, and then we have the first talk. Yes. Do it. Bring it on. Alrighty. All right, let's get started with the first presentation. If we can get your attention. So, does anybody want to share their story? I will walk into the audience. Let's get started with the first presentation. Perfect. Does anybody want to share their story? Who had a very interesting story? Anybody? There it is. You. Did anybody have an interesting story to share? About things you would do in your spare time? Any project you discussed right now? Maybe it's super secret. All right, let's start with the first main presentation about the robotics competition.
Thank you. How is everyone? All right. Yep. Hello. Yep. Hi. My name is Joel Skoghammar. I'm a software developer, hardware destroyer. Currently work on autonomous vehicles. Might seem like a bad combo. Fortunately, I only work on the software. So that's all right. And to be fair, I also destroy software. It's just a bit easier and cheaper to rebuild. Oh, sorry. Yeah. I'm also a volunteer for Stockholm Robot Association, or Stockholm Robotförening, which I've been engaged with in 4 years approximately. Yeah. And the last 2 years, I have been responsible for organizing Stockholm Robot Championship, which is a yearly competition, which brings about 35 contestants, 40 robots, and 1,500 visitors, approximately, during the day. And what we do is we build robots and compete with them till death. And first, I will show you a couple of clips on different competitions. First out is Folk Race, which is inspired by the Swedish ruining car stuff. Yeah.
Hey, people in the back, should we turn the lights off, or is it better with it on? Turn it off? Okay, cool. It's going to be a little bit dark, but you can maybe take the curtains off if you prefer. Okay, cool. I'll do that. Sorry for the interruption.
No problem. We got some technical difficulties anyways. There we go. Sorry. So what we see here is Folk Race, which is the competition is 4 vehicles at a time, and you try to get around this track as many laps as possible. It's not as hard, as easy as it might seem, because you don't control them by yourself. They do their job when you tell them to do so. There's no remote control at all. They are pre-programmed to find their way around the track. So that is very entertaining, both for the audience and the competition contestants. We also have Mini-Sumo, which is a bit quicker matches. This is highly competitive. And the matches are very quick. It's a bit more controlled than Folk Race, which is just mayhem. Yeah, and it's quite entertaining too. So what do we need to, excuse me, what do we need for competing in these tournaments? We need software, we need hardware, and we combine those to create autonomy. As I said, you are not allowed to radio control your creations. You just press start and they do what they're supposed to do. If you've done your homework, you will win. If you haven't, you will lose. Yep, and I will quickly go through the different competitions, and hopefully some of you will find them interesting and join us this autumn. First, Folk Race, which we saw, which often is based on repurposed RC cars, but once again, no radio control. You remove that and put in some electronics which you program. Yep. And here we see a couple of different creations. One on the left is custom built, and the one on the right is repurposed RC car. This year we will also introduce a new class, which is Folk Race 187, which is the same scale as Märklin train tracks, model train tracks, HO, for those of you who are who know what that is. And as you can see, they are very, very small. The size restrictions there will be something like 35 millimeters wide, 52 high, and 200 something long. We have many different classes of sumo. The one we saw earlier was mini sumo, which is the most popular because it's quite easy to build. It's not too big, so you don't need as much hardware to get them to work, and they're not so small that you need to be an expert to get them together, or a brain surgeon. The biggest one is has the restriction of 200 by 200 millimeters, and weigh maximum of 3 kilograms. These play on a metal surface to be able to use magnets to get them to keep on the track on the surface. Sorry. And the smallest one is 25 by 25 by 25 millimeters and 25 grams, which also is incredibly tiny and cute. I want at least 2. We also have line following, which is line following. You have a black line on a white surface, and you're supposed to follow that line around the track as fast as you can, one at a time. And I think this might be most interesting for most people here, which is freestyle, where you can build whatever you want. And we have a jury that judge your creations based upon innovation, technicalities, creativity. And on the left, we see a chess playing robot that I think won 3 years ago. Might have been, yeah. On the right, there's a self-balancing robot. We also had one that I unfortunately couldn't find any pictures of, which was called Picasso, which was also a team from KTH. It was a crawling robot that crawled on the wall and painted stuff. Awesome. Why do we do this? Well, it's challenging. It's fun. It's very satisfactory to see your creations come to life, as most of you probably know. To be able to change a line of code and lose instead of winning, it's amazing. Who? Well, there's no age limit. Everyone is welcome. We had this guy this year, 8 years, I think it was. He won his competition in Lego Sumo. He was the only contestant, but we don't need to speak about that loud. And there's also no knowledge limit. You can build something out of Lego, and you will probably have a lot of fun doing it, and use it as a stepping stone to build something else. How? Well, yeah, you decide. Lego, Arduino, Raspberry Pi, do a full vision system for folk race. Be my guest. I would love to see that. Depends on the class you want to compete in. Some has size restriction, so it's hard to fit a Raspberry Pi, even if they're small. But yeah, you choose. Okay. Yeah, so thanks.
Okay, I'm Daniel Krinchenko. I think a few of you have seen me before. A little closer? Okay, now you can hear me. So, my name is Daniel Krinchenko. I think most of you might have seen me before. I'm a Linux Unix consultant, and then, maker, love to tinker with hardware. And I'm going to talk about competition that I want to add into this this coming autumn, which is a robot dance competition. And the idea is similar. The robots should be autonomous, so no strings attached. And we'll see if we have a background example. If you mute the sound. So this is example of a dancing robot, but basically I would say anything that is a robot and can perform a dance goes. I got the idea when I was thinking of building a hexapod, and I found that there was robot dance competitions or hexapod dance competitions, and I'll show a slide of that later. Well, why? I would say that art and electronics are made for each other. Robots can dance. And well, to get a wider interest in the competition, get more people inspired to build things, and a larger group of participants in the event. And how? Well, I would say the rules aren't completely set in stone yet, and they will be published on the Robot Championship webpage a little later this spring. But the robots will perform on stage in front of a jury. The robot should be autonomous, no remote control during the performance, and stand on its own feet or wheels. You will choose the song yourself, and they will be judged on technicalities, sense of rhythm or coordination, choreography, or and artistic creativity. Well, more details will come on the webpage later on. And I'll show you this clip from Vienna a few years back, where they have the hexapod competition. We can put on sound on this one, I think. I think that works better. There. Okay, so that is an example, but I would say anything that fits within the rule set would work, and I hope to see a few participants at least this autumn. Yeah, so thanks.
Yeah, so this year's Stockholm Robot Championship will take place at November 13th at Tekniska Museet, and I hope to see at least some of you there. If not as audience, it's very fun to look at the competitions, even if you're not competing yourself. Yeah, if there's any questions, I'll try to answer. Yep. Thank you for listening. Here you can find some more information: Stockholm Robot Championship, robotchampion.se, or Stockholm Robot at Facebook.
Thomas, am I okay to show the Mentimeter stuff now, or was now the time? Do you want to come up and talk about it? We can do it. Yeah, right. That was actually the reason why I was fumbling around, because I wanted to get that ready. I added a quick little introduction question before that. Is that okay?
Sure. Take it. So last time we used the system called Mentimeter to ask the crowd questions so that we can decide what we will do and have a bit of a communication. So the first question is, so everybody has to pull out their phone and go to menti.com, and it will ask you to put in this code 514860, and then there will be 3 questions in total. So the first question is just to understand who is here tonight. I think we're like 200 people, maybe 150. So it will be fun to hear what people's background is. So just go ahead, write something. Many people in development, I guess. HR, nice. Marketing. I guess it's a good mix of different people. Diplomat, that's a nice one. Whoa. The robot dance guy.
Okay, we're almost at 100, so just 6 more people and we'll hit 100. I think that will be a record, so that will be nice.
Right. Okay. I think we can use this information for future events as well to know who is here. Let's go to the next one. Aha, okay. How many events did you attend? And this is only the Stockholm Hardware event. It's not the other ones, the other meetups are there are some with similar names, but it's I think we mean this event, this very meetup. 95 answers. Hmm? Okay. So we're looking for sponsorships, and it seems like we can get money to arrange workshops. And I think it's really fun with workshops where we can play with things and it's hands-on. And we're not going to be 200 people maybe. We'll be fewer people to get a better experience. Let's see. So the question is, do we want to host workshops? Does anybody from the crowd want to host a workshop? It could be on Arduino, or it could be on anything that's technical or product related, or something that's could be different as well. Or do you want to join a workshop? So before people start replying too much, write lead or attend dash the topic of the workshop that you would either like to lead or attend. Somebody got it there. Attend dash smart tactile. Nice. One more got it. Somebody missed it.
I think we can probably assume that most will probably want to attend.
Yeah. Exotic workshops, I like that one.
If you put in lead, so suggesting that you'd like to help organize or help lead a workshop, go and see Thomas in the break or after the event, so we can try to organize that.
So what we'll try to get money to buy materials. It could be for a teardown workshop where we will tear down. We'll go to Technique magazine and buy products, and we will tear them down and look for the inside. That could be one workshop. Yeah. The last one. We don't go here to do speed dating, obviously. We go here to listen about technology and products. But it could be that somebody has a product idea and needs, say, a mechanical engineer for their product. So if anybody has any need for technical expertise, my suggestion is that you would write your name again, name dash CTO. So my suggestion is that you would write your name. My name is Thomas dash mechanical engineer. And what happens is that you can come to the stage afterwards, and maybe there's a mechanical engineer that would think that would be interesting to talk to you, and you can talk up here. Speed dating for engineers. And we will have the break now as well, so there will be time to go for beer and a sandwich and maybe meet somebody up here. And somebody got it, Oscar Haag. So this is the format I was thinking of.
Dance partner, this is good. Great, thanks, Tom. Yeah, we'll let it run for a little while. Cool. Thanks, Thomas. We'll leave this on the screen for a little while, and then in a moment we'll hand over to Matthias. The idea, of course, is that there are a bunch of people here, and we would like to figure out how we can help you meet each other. So Thomas's other suggestion was how you have a quick conversation with somebody next to you. This is an attempt at exploring and finding a way to introduce you to each other. I'll take it off the screen, but I'll leave it on this slide. So if you're on the mobile app, you can continue to push in. And next up, we have Matthias from MTech. So give him a hand.
See if that one works. Hopefully. See if it works. Magic.
Remember the mic.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. I'm Matthias. I'm the CEO of MTech Consulting. I'm here today to talk about robotics and the production line of the future. and I assume that there are some people in the crowd here that are fairly interested in hardware, right? Anyone who is not? Yeah, okay, sorry. I kind of swim out of picture. So, what I would like to talk about today is my interpretation of Industry 4.0. So, any one of you that has a desire or will or need for production, this is my view on what will happen. I will show you some videos from ABB Yumi and try to see where the trends are going. So, I will start off. Anyone has seen this robot before, the Yumi? Cool. Anybody that likes it? Me too. So, I'll show you a video of the first truly collaborative robot. This is, I would say that this is the best invention in sliced bread, which I also like. So, let's see if I can start. Sorry. Should be able to get this one up and running. Whoops. Hardware doesn't like me. Better turn the mouse around. So hopefully it starts. So what you see now is the first truly collaborative robot. It can work side by side with a human. It has motion sensors, so if you touch it, it will stop. It doesn't require these immense safety fences or cages. It's extremely repetitive. It's extremely simple to program. And what I believe is that we're going to see a lot of these ones coming out. It was launched by ABB in May 2 years ago. And as far as I understand, they are really pushing it now to deliver a lot of these to the market. So if you think about it, Henry Ford, MTM, mean time measurement, back in 1920s. This is the full capability of dual hand motion. It has a vision system built in inside the hand. It has a suction nozzle. It has grippers that you can actually 3D print. So you can adapt your own manufacturing process. Very, very simple. So why do I believe that this one is going to be a hit? Well, first of all, we have a big challenge. Anyone here that has manufacturing in Asia? Some of you guys, yeah. I'm blessed to be able to travel 300 days a year. I've been living in Africa for the last 7.5 years. I've been living in China for 5 years. I've been running my consultancy company for the last 15 years, doing different projects. Everyone's moving to China. Everyone's moving to Asia. Right now, the engineering cost in China is actually higher than in Sweden, so they're moving back. The Chinese market is now losing a lot of manufacturing to Eastern Europe. One of the reasons for this is as well that the employee turnover in the Chinese companies specifically, some companies actually go beyond 10% a month, which means that you need to constantly retrain your staff. You're going to have a lot of product variations and quality variations over time, and the company that's going to be successful are the ones that actually maintain their people. So they're constantly training new staff all the time because they're losing them and they're getting them in. So, and we all know that if the hardware fails, the business stops, right? So the key is the hardware. Ask WSI. So we can't afford to have products that fail. Take the Samsung battery scandal, where they've lost I don't know how many billions due to the fact that they didn't perform their design right, they didn't do the product verification and validation right, and now the brand Samsung is suffering. I guess that there are at least a couple of Googles and Apples inside this room now, people developing really cool hardware that's going to hit the market running. For us, production is key. And up until today, automation has been very, very costly because we need to have all these very inefficient cages, all these security solutions. You have to have really high-skilled engineers to program. But I think those days are gone. And most importantly, that variations comes from humans in production, very much. Not only, also due to bad maintenance, but. So, we tried to make a little bit of a Vitruvian Yumi. What we're going to see, I'm going to jump down to the last point here. IoT. Introduction of IoT, I believe, is going to be an introduction of an ultra-high volume, ultra-high mix scenario. We're going to be producing much, much higher series in much shorter time. More of a power will be put to the market departments. So they're going to be driving the product development. You guys, with all the tools that are available and your extraordinary skills, you're going to be launching products. And today with all the web shops and all the distribution channels, you're going to hit the market much faster. It's much simpler today to become a hardware supplier and a product owner than it ever has been. Also, traceability. The American Department of Defense 2 years ago launched a report stating that $8.9 billion was their impact due to counterfeit components. So, traceability. We need to know what we're producing because we can't build an enormous customer care unit. We can't afford to have a callback campaign on the size of Samsung. We can do that with robots. We can do that with timestamps in the production. Also, ERP connectivity. One of the key success factors of Apple is that they know when they launch and they know when they kill the product. So their ramp-up curve for production is under full control, which means that their integration to the ERP system as well as the manufacturing execution systems are thorough. So they know when they're going to launch a product. They know what type of problems they're going to predict. They're going to see, they know the expectancy rate of a product. They know when they're going to kill it. We've been through a project for a client in Middle East. They had 480 different products under development. None of them was released to the market. So they spent an enormous amount of money on developing products, not releasing them. I will show you here another video. Any questions so far? No? Okay. Let's see if I get this one to run. As I said, I love hardware. Hardware doesn't love me. Come on. Yeah, good. As you can see there, the robot is collaborating with humans. Of course, the fixtures here, this is a demo setup, but it shows the ability to work very closely with the robot. This suction nozzle. So imagine a situation where you can 3D print your fixtures, you can 3D print your tools, you can set the production line up, and you can balance it, you can analyze it, you can understand the cost on a very, very early stage. This has not been able to be done before due to labor laws and security laws. See the impact there where it touches the robot. This is very much a commercial for ABB, by the way. I really like this. So, having this one available on a resource pool would allow companies like yourself to launch products much faster, to try it out. Is it actually buildable? Is it designed to be produced? And what stops it from being produced at a high level of quality and cost? High level of quality, low level of cost. Of course, there's a weight limit to this one. I think it handles 1 kilo of units. Otherwise, you could be creating frisbees in production. So, coming into the method part, this is something that we try to integrate in as many places as possible. Yeah, 4 minutes, yeah. A U-cell. Any one of you seen a mobile phone manufacturing or a high volume manufacturing, you will see those type of cells around, where we have to focus on material management. We have to make sure that the method development is actually done already on the design stage. It's really easy to transfer products in a cell setup like this. And here is one of the key words, remote and rapid prototyping. We're going to see services popping up which allows for remote prototyping, rapid prototyping by 3D printer support, web connectivity, and so on. And I will take the last one, so I'm not losing the Q&A. But once again, coming back to the traceability part, connectivity to the ERP of the manufacturer would allow for a certificate of authenticity on components. This picture shows an instant share of consumption. So the whole supply chain should, at the point of information, be shared with everyone. So when I see a demand increase or decrease, I should be able to see that in my ERP system instantly in the whole supply chain. So very briefly, I will save at least 1 minute. This is what we see as a trend development, going from a high volume, low mix scenario, moving over now for the cross section, where we're going to see the traditional products moving on to a higher mix, but on a fairly increased volume. But IoT going to an ultra high volume, ultra high mix. And this is, I believe, that the robotics will support in that, and I believe that your work is what makes it happen.
What do you mean with mix?
Shorter series, shorter time to market for the product owners. As I said, I believe that the market departments will drive the product development. So, yeah, some of the focus areas. I only have 140 left.
You've got a Q&A time on top.
Okay. So basically, in order to make this happen, higher volume, higher mix requires a full product process and business focus. Having a very, very only design focus will maybe not be sufficient for the future. Typical up left is Apple's or the old Nokia. I have another. I can show you a demo where they integrated this robot into candy manufacturing. Yeah. Come on. Time is running. Move that over. Yeah. He's speaking English. Those ones are sorted out, packed using a Yumi that is located in the center of the robot cell. Yeah. Okay, moving on. Thank you.
You can check the questions, maybe turn the light on.
Yeah.
Over by the door.
Comments, questions?
What's the cost for Please repeat the question.
Yeah, the cost for Yumi. Right now, it's equivalent of a full-time employee. It's about 650 to 700,000 Swedish crowns. And that one is estimated to drop down to around 400, 450. Depend on volume, of course, but it's... So the cost is very good. Also, bear in mind that you don't need the safety cages. So... It's a lead-through programming. So you actually take the robot arm and you move it around and you click and you move it around and click and you move it around and click and bada bing, bada boom, you have your program.
Anyone else?
Anyone else? Yes.
What is the advantage of actually having the arm and the robot with arms instead of having production line that builds everything step by step? I mean, in the first video you showed in the Johnson & Johnson, it seemed like a production line with I don't know, normal conveyor belts and gears would be much faster. So why would you use that kind of robot?
Firstly, because you have all the levels of freedom in the arm, so you can actually mimic a human. So whatever you do as a human, you can do it with a robot. Second of all, the flexibility. Usually when you design a flow specifically for one product or a few products, you're kind of stuck with high automation cost. In this case, you can plug out the robot, put a human in, and when you want, you put the robot back in. Usually those lines are quite costly to invest in. A surface mount line of a good quality, you can see about 10 to 30 million Swedish crowns. And then you have these robotic or old style robotic cells. So. Cool. Anyone else?
You mentioned the drag and drop programming.
Yeah.
How do you handle like I/O? If you need to react on incoming materials and stuff, if you need a human to just program?
Of course, you can put the low-level automation on it. It has all the connectivity, so you all I/Os inside out.
Yeah,
So.
then it's as complicated to program as others.
Yeah. So you need to have some sort of interaction with it. So yeah. Good.
Cool.
Thank you.
Cool. So that was the first half. A bit of introductions, the two main talks, and some feedback. There's another main talk coming up shortly from Furhat Robotics. Did you bring anything to demo?
No.
Not today. Video maybe?
Yes.
Video, yes. And then we have a number of lightning talks. I think certainly Powell brought a bunch of gear. He's got a number of his 4, I think, drones with him. So take a break. It's 10 past 7, so we'll probably do like 15 minutes or so. And then we'll be back. Stuart, what do you got? Question is, what is the Wi-Fi password for the things matter? Right, nice, good one. Good question. So, and I got to remember to put up the URL for that invite that I forgot to put in the deck. But see you back here in 15 minutes for the second round. Bye. Okay. Let's gather up and get started. Let's let's get started in a minute. Okay, we're about to get started. Okay, you guys in the back down there, is the air okay? Do we need to open or close any windows, or is it okay in the back? Already done it, and you're not freezing to death? Great. I feel like there's a trade-off between the lights being on and you guys are awake, and the lights being off and you can see the screen but you're going to fall asleep. What do you think? You guys in the back, what do you want? Lights on or lights off? Kill the lights. Kill the lights. Okay, kill the lights. So let's get whoa. Right, people are already asleep. Okay, so this is the second half of Stockholm Hardware 11 on robotics. And we're going to do, I did manage to update the name to correctly reflect that Jonas is going to talk to us about what Furhat Robotics is up to. And after that, we're going to have 6 lightning talks now. They're each 5 minutes long, or max 5 minutes, and we just had David raised his hand, and we added him on. He's going to come and do a talk that I renamed to be Your Home is a Website. Thank you. It was short enough that it fitted on one line. Cool. So please welcome Jonas to the stage.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here. So I'm Jonas, and I am one of the co-founders of Furhat Robotics. So Furhat is... Thanks. Furhat is a robotics company founded 3 years ago here at KTH, and we're still located at KTH. And we build social robots. and I'm, I said, one of the co-founders, and also have the title Director of Embodied Engineering. I'm quite happy with the title. I came up with it myself. And I'm also a professor here at in the School of Computer Science. I'm going to talk today about a bit about what Ferhat is, but also about the sort of potential, why it might be a good idea to build robots that have a personality and that are able to engage in social interaction with humans. So let's actually start with a little movie here. Let's see.
Hello, computer.
Just use the keyboard.
The keyboard. How quaint.
All right. So I'm from speech technology, or this is sort of my area, and we've always been saying that in 5 years we're going to be able to talk to a computer, and it's going to be everywhere. And it's then 5 years more comes along, and nothing happens, and all of a sudden, it's happened, right? So we're right now in the golden age of speech technology. It's literally everywhere, and this is a selling point of the companies, and it's not something that you just keep waiting for, and it's actually reaching the level of human, or past the level of human performance, and yeah, so it's really working well, and we have physical devices now being developed that are based on speech as the main form of communication, which is fantastic. However, these devices are excellent for short interactions, and if you just want to request a song, which is basically what probably 99% of what these devices are used for, is requesting songs. But the interaction itself resembles actually a lot a ping pong match, and something that you would do with an intercom like this. So you wouldn't have any long engaging discussions. So this means that if you want users to actually be engaged in, if you were to do things like tutoring, or even therapy, or getting education, or a whole range of possible applications that you can actually make an impact on people, then of course this mode of interaction wouldn't be enough. And basically what is missing, of course, is the personality, or even the lack of a face in some form. So basically the face is something that defines a lot of the personality, of course, as we know. So it might make a lot of sense to give the robot some kind of face, and this is just a sample of what different robots people have come up with. And I mean, it's not arbitrary, of course. It's not just because we want it to look like a human, because it's from science fiction, but we also, I mean, it's about the way we react to things and to humans. It's very much rooted in our brains, that when we see a face, we can't help. We can't decide that we don't want to process it, basically. I mean, we see a face and it goes straight to our most sort of primal parts of our brain. So that makes it also very powerful as an interface. So basically we can say that this whole area of social robotics, personality is sort of the user experience that defines it. So, I mean, we can look at the paradigm of that humans have always been using tools, and in some ways the first robots, sort of industrial robots, can also be thought of as tools, but there is at some point it crosses over and becomes a social entity, and then we stop thinking about it as a tool. The reason then for having this is, as I said, that there are numerous levels of engagement that come from the fact that the robot or the entity that we interact with has some kind of personality and a face. And there have been several studies that show this quite clearly. So for example, if you have someone trying to solve a puzzle and getting instructions either by text or by even by a moving avatar or a character on the screen, they won't perform as well as if they get exactly the same instructions given by a physical robot. So these are some very clear studies, and we've done similar experiments ourselves in the research department with language learning, where we have a robot trying to teach the user a second language, that they comparing different conditions, we again see that the robot is the most effective means because it forms a deeper sort of connection, and the users are more engaged with the robot. So these are some of the reasons why we believe it's a good thing to build robots with personalities. So just to look at what robots are out there, you already saw a slide with a lot of robots with faces, basically, and this is sort of what can be, what is on the market today. And of course, this looks a bit like a sales slide, which I got it from the CEO today. So it's, of course, this is our this is our robot up there. But you see a lot of, I mean, you have Pepper, which is like the Japanese seen in, for example, in public service and in shops everywhere now in Japan, and you have some other devices that are geared towards the home market, like the Jibo, which hasn't been released, and so on. So actually, if you look at what these are sort of announced, if you look at what's actually shipping, it's not as many. But down here you have these home assistants, Google Home and Alexa, which are of course shipping by millions. But again, they lack some of the modes of interaction that we think of as providing personality. So yeah, this is more of the same, but looking at the price span, so they go all the way from like $100 up to fairly expensive stuff. But again, if you look at the ones that are actually on the market, it's very little in the middle, sort of. So either they're geared towards basically towards researchers and players that can that clearly see the value in this and want to develop their services on top of this. And on the consumer side, it's fairly scarce at the moment in terms of social robotics. But this is of course bound to change, because all of the researchers and the high-tech companies that develop applications for these robots have something in mind, of course. So it's going to be it's going to reach the consumer level, but it's going to be enter other markets like public service, which is what we're seeing now a lot in Japan. So finally, a few words about what we're actually doing at Furhat. So we're trying to position Furhat. A few words about the actual hardware, since this is a hardware meeting. Unfortunately, I didn't bring one, but we're using facial animation and projected light. So we have a little projector sitting inside the robot, and it's projecting an animated face. And then we have sort of the main unit that contains a fairly powerful PC that runs all the animation software and also the speech signal processing and speech recognition. So basically it's self-contained, so you can do spoken interaction directly with this device. And it's also very flexible, because you can change the mask and you can change the actual image that you're projecting onto it. So it can literally take on different personalities, which is unique, I would say, in the robotics lineup that we see. It contains a lot of these modules. I won't go into any details, but it's able to track users' faces. We're using a lot of technology that's come out fairly recently, but it's so we're not, of course, building all of these technologies ourselves, but we're putting it together. Speech recognition. It's able to connect to touch screens, and it's keeps track of several users, so it builds a model of sort of the situation. So it can handle multi-party interactions, basically, which you'll see later in the video. It does spoken dialogue management with multiple users, handling things like joint excuse me, keep track of who is looking where. If there are two users talking to the system and one of the users is talking to the other user, it's gonna notice that that user is not turning the head towards the robot, but towards the other user, so it's not gonna pay as much attention. And speech synthesis, all sorts of gestures and expressions in the face and so on. So these are some of the verticals that Furhat is looking at now. So this is sort of the product that is being sold actually as we speak, but it's also being developed quite heavily on this stage. So there's the actual hardware, and there is a software layer called Furhat OS that contains all of the necessary boilerplate basically to build your own applications, and then there is the Furhat Studio and different well, sort of the development environment where you where you can build your own human-robot interaction scripts or skills, as we call them. And this is then intended to work across a whole range of different application areas. So this is quite a challenge. I mean, we were given a lot of advice that it's good to choose one and sort of try to be strong in that vertical, but we said, no, let's do them all, and let's build a platform that people can use to actually realize social robotics, because it's relevant to so many different areas. And we have some. So basically, the idea is that we have collaborations in all of these. So we don't try to do everything ourselves, but we collaborate with strong players in all these markets, and try to build applications then that and proof of concepts that work. So to round off, here is Furhat in action. This was done at the Technical Museum in Stockholm a few years ago. So Furhat is interacting with visitors at the museum, and they interact two at a time, and they play a game together. So you will see how this works.
Jag heter Furhat. Och vad heter du?
Jag heter Rupa.
Jag heter Björn.
Trevligt att träffas. Om jag förstår spelet rätt så ska vi sortera de här planeterna efter deras storlek. Den minsta här och den största här borta. Ni får gärna diskutera lösningen med varandra, men också fråga mig vad jag tror. Skulle ni vilja hjälpa mig med det? Vad tror du?
Jag vet inte.
Det här var ganska svårt. Jag känner mig osäker. De första olympiska spelen hölls väl i Grekland.
Precis, ser du?
Det långsammaste här och det snabbaste här borta. Tryck på knappen om ni vill se lösningen. Vi fick 2 rätt. Vi kanske kan göra bättre ifrån oss nästa gång. Vi fick alla rätt. Det är ju fantastiskt.
Tack Farah.
All right. So that's one of the examples where you hopefully can see the sort of the level of engagement that you can get with this type of device. That's all for me, actually. 1 minute left. I don't know if that's supposed to include questions or no. Okay. So we're looking for always looking for people that are talented and interested. So thank you for your attention. And any questions? Yes.
Is the solution connected to a backend in some way, or is all the analytics done in the actual hardware? Please repeat the question.
Right. So the question was: is everything done on the hardware, or do we use some kind of backend service? Yes, we typically use backend service for speech recognition because that basically gives much higher accuracy at the moment. We can also do. There is enough processing power. It has actually an Intel NUC i5 processor, so it's pretty powerful, the built-in computer. So it's powerful enough to run everything. But for other reasons, we typically use the speech outside. But otherwise, everything else is done on the machine. Yes. Yes, at the back.
How would you like to use it in the future?
Yes. So the question was, how do we like to use it in the future? And we're looking at, like I said, a whole number of different range of verticals. But so one is, for example, in education. So we have 2 ongoing collaborations with schools in Stockholm, where they actually have one for at each school in place, and we're currently looking at how this will work out in the education. So there is something like what you saw in the video here, that you have some sort of application, probably with a touchscreen, and then you can have several children interacting at the same time. And this is a huge difference to the current state of sort of digitalization in the schools, where it basically means that every kid gets an iPad and they sit like this all the time, which is not fostering any collaboration. So for example, with a robot, you would be able to have collaborative work, and the robot would act as a tutor and an encouragement, and can also help to if someone is not sort of in the loop, he would encourage them to be part of it. So that is one area, but there are tons of others, like receptionists and public services. We're currently not primarily looking at the home and direct consumer area. That's, in my opinion, quite a bit further down. But okay, I don't know who was next. I think you. Right. The question was, what about retail and shopping malls? I think that's a very likely application to be. This is also where we have seen some other social robots being sort of one of the first areas that people start using social robots. Yes, at the back.
If you start selling this at the same volume as, say, Google Home, how low do you think you can set the price?
Right. So the question is, how low can the price go down if the volume goes high enough? And of course, we thought a lot about this, and it's not. Well, it's not inconceivable to think of it as a consumer device, but there are a few. For example, the fact that we're using a projector that has to be fairly powerful. So right now, it's not. It can't be. It can't be really cheap. So I don't know. It's probably hard to see it in. Well, at least in the sort of size and so on that we have now, it wouldn't probably go below I would say 10,000 or something in Swedish. But of course you can think of different other sorts of embodiments, smaller and more sort of like advanced toys and things like that. So I think you are next, maybe in the red, or
Yeah, you can go.
okay, yes.
In the early slides, you showed graphs where this was filtered out as the ones currently shipping. Could you give some examples of current deployments where you have this, where it's actually used?
Yeah, so it's shipping as it's being sold to other users, but if you look, so I can mention a couple of them. So Disney Research and Honda, KPMG. There are lots of, but these are all customers that use it as a development platform to explore the area of social robotics, and also several universities. So as a system that is actually in use, meeting sort of naive users on a daily basis, no, not yet. But we're hoping to get there soon. But I mean, the school the school deployment is, but this is also in the form of a research project at the moment, so it's not that the school bought it or anything. But yes. Okay.
Yeah, so it looks like you're trying to really give that kind of human feel to it, but a lot of these kinds of robots have that uncanny valley thing going on. So what have been your thoughts around that?
Yes, so the question was, what are my thoughts about the uncanny valley? I can just briefly, for those who are not familiar with concept, the idea is that if a robot or any character that is not human becomes too human-like, you might start perceiving it as creepy, basically. And yeah, so we get this question a lot, of course, and some people will find this more or less creepy. I mean, this is something that, and we're also playing around with different levels of human likeness. So I wouldn't say that we have and this is actually part of the interesting thing, that we can change both the animation and the mask that we're projecting on. So the initial masks and the molds that we made were more human-like, and then we're sort of trying to look at the spectrum of gradually, or anything from very cartoonish to human-like. But it's an interesting area to explore, and I think no one really has come up with a good way of measuring uncanniness. And there's also the idea that if something shows to be really useful, then you wouldn't actually care so much. And I mean, after a while, if you get enough exchange from it in other ways, you might not be bothered if it's uncanny. But on the other hand, first impressions are also very important. So yeah, this is something that we're looking into a lot and exploring.
That's it for questions.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Cool. If there's more questions, maybe you can catch up after the talks. So let's see what we have left. Here we go. Okay, so that was the third of the three main talks. So what's left is the lightning talks. We actually have, do we have six of these? I think maybe Hjalmar was supposed to go first, but I think we'll switch that around unless he's back. Nope. So, Rickard, you want to come up? If not, then Pau's next. Rickard? Yeah. Great, you want to do it. Sure. Do you want to take your own laptop? No. You want to bring... Great, cool. So please welcome Rickard to the stage.
So, thank you. Is there anyone from H&E Solutions here today? No? Have you heard about them and their system, EVAM Systems? It's a communication platform, vehicle to vehicle, to make rescue vehicles get through traffic much faster. 3 weeks ago, I haven't heard of them at all, but they won the Initial Innovation Award at the Electronics Fair in Gothenburg, granting them 1 million Swedish crown in production money and 250,000 Swedish crown in consultant money from Prevas. I visited my first hardware, Stockholm Hardware, last month. I've been within the electronics business for 20 years, and here I was surrounded by 150 hardware developers, and I didn't know one single company around the participants. That's quite amazing. There's a big word that I didn't know about. And I think several of the speakers last month, they were talking about they started as software engineers and then transitioned to hardware. I think Linus from Volumental said that there was no hardware good enough for them to run their platform on or run their software on, so they had to develop it themselves. And I think for all of you in this room or all of us in this room, we know that hardware is much more important than sometimes it's heard in the news. So the electronics market, many people, there was a lot of buzz around China and Chinese manufacturing, and I think Matthias at MTech mentioned as well that we very often look at China. China is perfect for especially for mass production and high volumes, but you need to have strict control on site in order to make your products work and to get the reliable quality over time. We work a lot with China, so the quality can be perfect if you have the control. So I just wanted to share some thoughts about Swedish manufacturing and the manufacturing and the Swedish electronics industry. What you see here is a couple of products that are all produced in Sweden, designed and manufactured in Sweden. And the Swedish electronics industry employs 50,000 people, and the revenue is around 150 billion Swedish crown. So that's like 11% of the Swedish export comes from electronics business and the electronics industry. So I mean, all of you here, you know it because you're developers, but also that the production is local might surprise some. And I work for a company called SthlmHW Group. We're a printed circuit board supplier. We ship PCBs worldwide, of course, and for me, I'm the MD for the Swedish site, so I'm very interested in anything produced in Sweden. And what we do to achieve success is to work very close to the design engineers. And not only, I mean, SthlmHW, yes, we have our design engineers for PCBs, but if you need component support, if you need to talk semiconductors, you can call Niklas at Arrow or Robert at EBV. And there are a lot of people there for you to support your designs and make you get your time to market much quicker. The product here is all made in Sweden. The To-Be eye tracker, the YubiKey, a USB authenticator, the Hasselblad cameras, Trimble's 3D printer, 3D scanner, the Fleur thermal cameras. My personal favorite is the Nord keyboards. I was in London recently at the country festival. It says more about me. But Jennifer Nettles, Brad Paisley, Chris Young, Hunter Hayes, and Dan and Shay, they all got the Nord's keyboards on the stage. So they are the world-selling artists, playing for 75,000 people in the arenas. Designed and developed and manufactured in Södermalm, Stockholm. I think it's a very strong point for Swedish manufacturing. More on this. So I just wanted to reach out and remind you a little bit, if you didn't know, that there's a strong manufacturing industry. The H&E solution winning the Innovation Award shows you that there are a lot of production nearby. There are approximately 20 or 25 EMS companies in the Stockholm area. If you expand it over out to Stockholm Mälardalen, you will probably find 100 or 150 companies that can help you build your product. And they have the local production support and the distributors for components or PCBs or connectors or whatever. All have technical experts that can support you locally. Yeah, if you want to connect, the SthlmHW Group website or the Swedish Electronics Industry Association, Svensk Elektronik. There's a lot of fairs and other events ongoing. There's some funding. I posted Vinnova funding for 4 million Swedish crown on the meetup page. Keep your eyes open. SthlmHW Group Twitter. I put on my Instagram handle. I don't know really why, because there's only pictures of barbecue and country music. But if you're interested in that, feel free. Thank you very much for listening.
That was great. Thanks. Okay, so got a few more to go. Pao, do you want to come up next? Are you here still? Back? You're over there. Do you need some help carrying this stuff, or do you want to keep it over there, or how do you want to play this? The what? Okay. Why don't we do that not now then? Why don't we come back to you in a moment? How about Björn? Do you want to talk about KTH and mechatronics? Yeah. Great, cool. Please welcome Björn Müller to the stage.
Stand over here? Yes. Okay. Hi. A little bit closer. You can hear me, right? My name is Björn Möller, and I'm a researcher at KTH, at Mechatronics, which is down at the machine design department. And I'm here today not to talk about research or teaching. Part of my work is I'm coordinating a prototype center, which is located down at machine design. And this is something I started some 4 or 5 years ago, and it has grown. So now we have expanded from just myself in the beginning to about 10, 12 people at the moment. And how many is from KTH here? Wow, that's a lot.
How many was that?
That was at least 20, 25, something like that. And and I also now have help of my prototype manager, Lars Hessler, which is over there. Since I need some input from somebody who knows prototyping from the industry. And the reason I started this prototype center was because some years ago I noticed that if you wanted to prototype something at KTH, you have some ideas, but you don't have the ability to actually build it. You didn't have anywhere to go. So I think it was very important to have somewhere you could actually, if you don't have the knowledge yourself to actually physically build your stuff, you should have some place to go at KTH to be able to do this. And this is why the prototype center came to life. Should I just go down here? Yeah. So this is roughly what we have at the moment. In terms of equipment, we have more just basic stuff, mill lathes and handheld tools and such. But for now, we have some different scanners to scan stuff. We have laser cutters, we have prototype milling machines, we have water jet machine, vacuum forming, we have a couple of different 3D printers, and we can cast some tough stuff also. So this is roughly what I have at the moment. This is expanding all the time, and hopefully I get even more funding so I can buy more cool stuff that I can help you with. So at the beginning, we just help other institutions at KTH, but recently we have the ability to help external companies also. We are not doing this for money to gain, to have. We don't have any stockholders, so we do it as cheap as we can. And it's learning from our side, because what I use is assistants, which are 4th and 5th year students at KTH. And we work closely with KTH Innovation for different startups if they need some help. And actually we also are very into things. Actually I was in here in the beginning with Linda and formed a small workshop you have down at Things. But if you can't cope, if you can't stuff here, maybe we can help you. So we have a special arrangement with Things. And like I mentioned, we can also go externally now, so that's quite new. I guess it's our politicians that have noticed that this is very important, and I think we should provide these services. And of course, we use this equipment in both research and education. So what can we do? We can do simple stuff. We can just help you print stuff, mill stuff, or just manufacture some parts. I know we worked with a couple of things, related companies. But we can also do now complete designs. I mean, if you want to go from just an idea to a final product, we can do that with some, documentation related to that also. But we could help out with, we can do CAD, electronics, we can do some programming. We're not object-oriented programmers, since the assistance that I have is mostly from machine design, and that is not what we do down at machine design. But we could probably guide you through the jungle of KTH if you want that. And like I mentioned, we have special deals with Things companies. How many are from Things? None. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So see if you have an idea and really want somewhere to go, maybe you should talk to Linda at Things. So this is the gang at the moment. It's me and it's Lars Hessler, like I mentioned. And there we have now, I think there are about 10, 11 assistants. So they will, help you if you come to us to actually, physically realize your ideas. And we try to take students, 4th and 5th year students from different, different tracks. So there could be technical design, it could be mechatronics, it could be machine design, and so on. Whoop! Oh, that's okay. So that was my last slide, right? So if you want to contact us, this is where you go. The website is rubbish at the moment, but we're working on it. But please feel free to contact me or Lasse. Thanks a lot.
Cool. In the back, is it okay with the light, or do you want to change it around? Whoa. Lights, guys? Do you want are the lights okay like this? Yes. Okay. Cool. Pow. Okay. I need to fix some stuff first for you. Why don't we start by welcoming Pow to the stage?
Thank you. Okay, I can ask something that I used to do even before the presentation. Who here has been flying some kind of drone, quadcopter, multirotor? Okay, so it's that's increasing. So it's some kind of a personal statistics that I'm always asking when I present something. Okay, so then I will go fast to one of the slides. Yeah, looks good. So, good evening. My name is Pau Malol, and I'm the founder of Inconova. We are a company that develop innovative drones for industrial applications. So basically, we like to push the technology and find new applications and develop drones or drone systems. We are working not only on drones themselves, but also on new navigation system for autonomous flights. So yeah, since it's about robotics, I wanted to basically, for those that are not familiar with drones or quadcopters, or so I wanted just to mention that it's a pretty simple system from the hardware point of view. Basically, as you see here, you can have, this is a quadcopter case, so you have in this case 4 motors that are controlled by one electronic speed controller each, and then they get obviously the power from the battery, and then every single speed controller is controlled by the flight controller, and this is where the magic happens basically. Nowadays, I must say that also speed controllers are becoming more and more getting more attention on the firmware, but here is the brain, let's say, and then you control it through a receiver, which gets the signals from the transmitter of the pilot. This is just in case you have a camera rig. This is a gimbal, so that's completely optional, and GPS is optional as well, unless you want autonomous flights. So it's not that hard, in my opinion, to, I mean, yeah, if you have soldered and so on, the hardware part is not that hard. But there is a lot happening in the firmware of the code of the flight controller. But I just wanted you now to jump directly a bit to what we do in terms of innovation. We think that we are opening new applications and creating new technology. So we started with the consumer drones in 2015, and then in 2016, January, we jumped officially to industrial drone development. So we have had different prototypes, and this is the Teal Ranger, the last the product that we are commercializing now. And the thing is that we are nowadays focusing on drones for mine scanning, for underground mine scanning, and within this market or this application, we specialize on using the drones for inaccessible areas, so ore passes, cave-ins, stopes, areas that are dangerous or really inaccessible for anyone. And we, with a 3D laser scanner, we get a 3D model, a point cloud as a raw data, and then we can do a lot of post-processing there. So in the background, you can see this is a person, for example. This is a point cloud of one of the scans. this is what we sell now, basically. And it has the particularity, all the drones have particularity that have the tilting arms. So the arms can rotate instead of going back and forth like this, moving all the body. The arms can rotate. Yeah. Thank you. So we changed the orientation of the rotors to go back. That allows the drone to fly, horizontal instead of going like that. This also allows to roll. The drone can roll on the ground, saving energy. So it doesn't need to stand there all the time. Just tilt the rotors and it rolls. And also we can climb our software firmware can also allow the drone to change the stable position like this, for example, and then it can climb on inclined surfaces. You can check our YouTube channel because there are a lot of videos showing this. For time constraints, I'm not going to show these videos. And then there are we have been working with avoidance system with a small LiDAR, and we have been working with a very big tilt rotor here for up to 4 kilos payload, and a very funny, this is kind of we call it the bug. It's pretty funny how it moves on the ground, because this basculates the legs, and you have it there. Unfortunately, I cannot show any videos now, but as I said, our drone right now, our drones can fly, run, and climb. That's the basic uniqueness. Basic, but it took some time to make it anyway, obviously. This is, for example, a scan of a result scan of one of our last missions in Canada. So from here and forward, it wasn't accessible because that was a stop. So we were piloting, sitting here. This is about 4 or 5 meters. And then, the total height of the scanning interesting area is about 40. So we were scanning there. And this is the raw data, let's say, is a point cloud. But then you can put it surfaces and you can make a lot of post-processing. And this is a 3D model. And something we are working on is on digitalization of real-time. Sorry. So this is the same model that we saw before, and we want to actually, instead of flying through the live feed of the FPV that you will see here, which is sometimes hard for the light and so on, we want to digitalize it. Okay. Yeah, so basically this is a simulation, but that's basically how we fly in reality, in that where I showed you before. So because of the light and so on, it can be hard in this environment. So we try to actually use the data that we are already collecting and having a real-time digitalization. This is a work in progress. Yeah, and I think I can stop here anyway. I think it was the last slide anyway. So if you have any questions, let's see. Sorry? Okay. Yeah. No, the last slide is context slide. So maybe you can put it. But any other? Yeah, next one. Yeah, here it is. So thank you for the presentation.
Thanks, Pam.
The questions were included, or what? The questions. Contact me or.
Are you gonna stick around for another few talks? Are you gonna be here afterwards?
I will wait for. I will wait.
Cool. If you got questions, go see Pao afterwards. Also, Pao and a few others met with me earlier today for interviews for the podcast. So if you want to know a bit more about Pao's journey to where he is now, check out the Stockholm Hardware podcast. Okay, cool. Next up, let's welcome Hjalmar from Wadi.
I don't have any slides. I don't know what you want to fetch, at least what I know. So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Hjalmar Nilsson. I'm the CEO at Wadi, and I'm really excited to be here tonight to talk about my company's recent adventures in hardware land. So our whole story is that 10 months ago, we raised 3 million euros in funding from EQT Ventures, one of the biggest venture funds in Europe. And we did that as a pure software company, just making a software product, what investors like to hear. And that was 10 months ago. 8 months ago, we told the board that the only way for us to do like to actually follow the vision of the company, was to make a massive pivot and deliver a product end to end, essentially making us a hardware company. And 1 week ago, I was in China fetching our first production series of our hardware. So it's been a really exciting few months. So let me just tell you really briefly what we do, and then I can tell you why we did this. So what is a device that you install in your home? It's a single device, you see it here, and it keeps track of what the different appliances in your home are doing. So with our product, you can check anything from, is my oven on right now, to how many espressos did I make last month? So how do we know what your espresso machine is doing if we don't have a hardware anywhere near your espresso machine? So we at Wadi, we're still largely a software company, and we've become the market leader in a technology called disaggregation, where we match patterns in how a specific appliance uses energy, such as an espresso machine, and we find that pattern in your total energy consumption data. We call those fingerprints. So every device uses energy in a slightly different way, and by identifying the fingerprint, we can identify it in your total energy load. So that we're essentially making the full smart home in one single low-cost box that keeps track of all the different appliances in your home. So we think this is a really, it's like the barrier of getting into the smart home becomes like 100 times lower with a product like this. And we think it is probably the only way to give all the households in Europe total control of their energy use, which is something we think is not only possible, but we think it's necessary. And we also think it's going to delight our users a lot. So this is our new product. And we've been around for almost 3.5 years. So what did we do all this time? So we used to have a software product, and the pitch was really easy. So every single home in the world already has a hardware installed. It's your energy meter, and it reads data all the time. So we just made the software to take the value, make this data valuable, essentially. And then everyone could push their data to us, and we would be a very successful company. What we found was that the customers, the people who actually had all these different types of hardware, they had really terrible data. Like the quality of the data was very, very poor. Not only was the resolution poor, but the actual, if you looked at the specs, most hardware didn't deliver anywhere close to what they said they were doing, basically. So we were trying to build what's a machine learning system, what people today call AI, that would work with really crappy data that we had no idea what was coming in. So our ability to guarantee the performance of our system was very difficult. I mean, you can imagine if you had like a real AI, like a human brain or something, and it was supposed to work equally well on like a mice or like an elephant, like the sensory output, if we have no control of the data coming in, we have no control of what we can do with that data. So that led us to the very tough conclusion that the only way to make this really work well is to control the whole system end to end and to make a hardware that can do that. And I mean, you always try to sound smart when you talk about your own like decisions in a company, but the truth was like the companies that were rolling this out, they were willing to invest in to get their hardware to work like more than 2 times what it would cost for us to make a hardware that was much better. So we're like, we're pretty stupid, huh? So we're asking this customer to spend all this money to get the hardware that is of very poor quality when we could deliver much better hardware much cheaper. So it's sort of an obvious move in hindsight. So 9 months from basically idea to shipping, and we're starting to install this in April and May. We would love to have some of you hardware folks involved in our early adopter community that we call the Wadi 500. So we have a special deal for you if you're interested, or if you're just interested about hearing how we got this done in 9 months. I'm very happy to talk about that as well. So please come and see me after. Thanks.
Very nice, thanks. Okay. Thank you. Maybe we can also have a look at the prototype.
You can indeed. I went with a transparent casing version for a reason.
Very nice. Cool. Please keep that around for when we are through 2 more talks. So there's 2 more talks, And first off, please welcome Håkan Lidbo to the stage. I'm just going to give you the whole...
Okay, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Whatever you... Like this?
No.
Like this? Yeah. Yes.
Seems to be happening, yeah. All right. My name is Håkan Lidbo, and my background is more music and art. This is Anna.
I win.
She is a robot project that me and my colleagues are developing. We try to make a robot with a slightly different approach. Anna is disabled. She easily gets lost. She is hearing impaired. She is visually impaired, and she gets autism. And actually, she's like most robots. But Anna is the first to admit that she has difficulties. So she asks for help all the time. And for anyone who is willing to talk to her for a while, she will explain how difficult it is to be a robot. And this is an example how it could be to talk to her.
What is your name, please?
My name is Håkan.
Did you say aeroplane?
No.
Is that a common name?
No, I'm Håkan.
Aha. iPhone.
No.
Your name is iPhone.
No.
Nice to meet you, iPhone.
No, my name is Håkan.
I might have a problem with my audio sensors.
Yes, I think you might.
I don't quite understand. Hot dog. Yes, now I hear you. Your name is Hot Dog.
No, but that's okay. Call me Hot Dog, that's all right.
Okay, well. So, what should we talk about now?
Yeah. We can talk about anything.
It goes on like that. So why would we build a robot with such an annoying personality? First, because we want to build a robot that in many senses is more human, that evokes empathy, and also to sort of prevent possible future robot racism. Today we basically build two kind of robots. We build them to be our slaves or our butlers. That's the personality that we build. And there is no doubt that robots will be our companions as long as there are humans on Earth, maybe longer. But the robots we build today are the best, really the best we can come up with to make them look like us. I mean, we're the naked ape from Africa that are good at running and climbing trees sometimes. We think it's interesting to explore what this new species can be, except humanoids and except slaves. I work with in a place called Rumtiden, Space-Time, and there are some projects that we did. This is the Bib, which is a robot guide from Malmö Tekniska Museum, and her personality is very local, Malmö. That's where I come from. This is called the Lost Bots. Cute but very stupid robots that can't really drive forward, but they're depending on the help of humans to find the way. So we made 25 robots and made an experiment how many would make it to the final destination. 24 out of 25 actually. Cookie serving robots, collective sound navigating robots, and suit that blocks one sense and replace it with a super sense. So we make projects that rather raise question than come up with answers. And sometimes they are more interesting than practical. Anna is fairly solid built with the face recognition, word and phrase recognition from a library that we teaching her in order to tweak the personality. She's built Linux with ROS, Oluxino platform,
it finds a way with Connect, IR sensors, and the robot base is a Kabuki robot base. So if you know some Linux, and if you'd be interested in part of this kind of strange project, please contact me. Thank you.
Thanks, Håkan. Very nice.
Thank you, Håkan. Now, on to the evening's last lightning talk. David Furendal, you can drop it right there. Do you want an adapter?
I think I'm fine.
Like one of these? Nope, you're good. And I called David's talk something like "Your home is a website," but I think it was an abbreviation for like a slightly longer version.
Yeah, I'm just Linnea. I'm just started to getting interested in AI and machine learning, so I just joined here because I thought there was not a lot of women on this stage. So now I'll hand over the mic.
Yeah, and I'm David, and me and Linnea are colleagues at Screen Interaction, and I'm supposed to talk about this, but I need to show a project that I'm super proud of that I did on my parental leave. So this is an old pinball machine, and that's a new pinball machine built for my old TV and some different displays. And there's quite a lot of hardware in it to get all the buttons attached. Do we have anyone that builds virtual pinball machines here? Oh, great. I want to talk to you. Google Virtual Pinball. It's an amazing community. Then I'm more of a software guy, but I like to kind of invent new materials. This is Touchwood, an early prototype. It's the cheapest plywood you can find that works like the touch display on an iPad. It's quite interesting material. And then some of you might have seen this. We built a bedside table at Screen Interaction out of this transparent glass. So you get a transparent bedside table, which was also an interesting project. And then let's forget about that one. This is what I'm supposed to talk about. You need like a Teldus device, or you can build something from a Raspberry Pi. And then you need motion sensors that you place in every room. And then you need some Google Analytics. And then you need to create a website for every room that you want to track. And then add the same code on every website. Because then when you walk into a room, you can kind of use Google Analytics that everyone that's into software I think know about to see how you use your hives. So, you know, right now someone is in the stairway, or me and my wife, we've been arguing about should we remodel our kitchen like everyone else in Stockholm, or should we do the living room? And when we see we spend like 5 hours a day in the kitchen and just 15 minutes in the living room, we thought that, okay, let's do the kitchen like everyone else. During weekdays, we are at work, so we don't track that much page visits or minutes in our house. During weekends, we are home a lot more. And I have one more video. This is the motion sensor in the stairway. So you can present it like on a magic mirror as well. So there you have someone is moving in the stairway, the weather prognosis, what time it is, bus to Bromma or next ferry, family's calendar, and then I just love Björk, so you know, you show the record cover of the music that's playing. So that is, you know, some projects of mine, and I'm a software guy. I don't know anything about this, but if you kind of get inspired or have some tips or want to talk to me, just grab me in a few minutes. That's all. And one more thing. I wanted to thank Håkan Lidbo. I've been a fan as long as I can remember, so it's an honor to be up on stage after him, and I want to be part of your project. And I want to thank Sune and all the people I don't know the name of, because you're arranging this, and I think meetups is such a beautiful thing. So thank you.
And I'm working on digitalizing my boss. It's not him, but one of my closer bosses, but maybe he comes next. So we'll see, we'll see.
Cool, thanks. So that was the last of the lightning talks. So this evening we've been through 3 main talks and 6 lightning talks. There's not much else to be said. There was 2 things that I wanted to mention. One thing is the lack of women on stage tonight. So you already spoke about it, and just reminds me a number of the discussions that we have had as organizers as we were setting up this event. So this is a topic that is on our mind and something that we are actively working on. Åsa and Caroline, so there's 2 out of the 6 organizers are women, and it is something that we pay explicit attention to try to get more women to be speakers. So I would just encourage all of you, when you meet friends or colleagues or peers in industry, if they're interested in hardware, if they're working with hardware, please encourage them to join this community and help share and encourage others to be part of. Cool. And I got the date right, I hope, for the next meetup. It is Wednesday, 26th of April. And the topic is power and energy harvesting. So essentially, we will look into how the dynamics of power consumption is changing, how you can... Wow, this is really starting to annoy me. We're trying out a new time management system for today. As you can tell, I don't totally always know exactly how it's working. Okay. So the idea of power and energy harvesting is partially for energy harvesting. It is kinetic energy, solar energy, maybe even radio waves. But it's also a look into power and how they're... Right, I really need to end. How there are increasingly many ways of dealing with power and getting power. It's not on Meetup yet, but it will be very shortly. So thanks a lot for today, and hope to see you next time. Please give a hand of applause for all of the co-organizers.